Hello everybody, welcome in to Trackalicious. Hope you're having a good Monday so far. We are looking to make it better. We are into the second half of our GT4 Rookies Championship. Tonight is the start of that second halfway mark with round number 5 going on at Silverstone this evening. We've got two 15-minute qualifying sessions followed by two 20-minute races, the same format as it has been all season long, continuing tonight. And we are looking to get to the track and join the action as soon as the qualifying session ticks on over. It is a pretty tight championship battle at the top. John Kilcoyne currently leading the way with 127 points. He leads JP Barretto by 12 points as he has 115 points. Then in third place is Dr. Porkchop with 108 points, just 7 points behind. Giancarlo Bottini in fourth, and Chris Saunderson rounds out the top 5. And still, it is anybody's championship to be decided with that drop round included as well. For the time being, it'll just be a matter of time before we get our championship results, with round number 5 happening at Silverstone this week before we head to the remaining 3 tracks of the season. Next week we go to Imola. Round 7 will be at the Circuit of the Americas, and round 8 will head back to Great Britain to go around Snetterton for the season finale. But that is then. This is Silverstone tonight. Let's head to the track as the qualifying session getting started here. John Kilcoyne, race winner. One of the 2 race winners from last week, I should say, sitting in the pits, waiting to get his qualifying session going. Duarte Manita lines up at the back of a large queue ahead of him of cars getting themselves warmed up and ready to go for the first qualifying session. 1 p.m. local time, nice and bright out on the track this evening. Track conditions already at optimum, so we should see some pretty quick times from the get-go. Of course, these GT4s take a couple of laps to get their tires up to the right operating temperatures and pressures. So we may see drivers go out for a couple of laps before really being able to push on those Pirelli tires. Got Duarte Manita here, followed by JP Barretto in the number 6 AMG, not Aston Martin. Ezzy Thomas making the switch from the KTM to the AMG this week, but still representing the Dogbox Racing squad with that number 59. Says he likes how the AMG feels. Already feeling an improvement compared to the KTM he was driving beforehand. And now Eric will be happy to see yet another AMG lining up on the grid this evening. Teemu Pessinen in the Ginetta had a podium last week. As he looks to continue that form after starting the season just last week, I should say, and already off to a great start with a podium under his belt on debut. And now see if he can get any higher on those podium steps tonight. I do believe that Temu here put in a monster amount of practice laps in the practice server. As he looks to be both quick and consistent this evening, and that is what it takes to win a race. Hard to tell, but it may just have been invalidated, or the lap, I should say, may have been invalidated through that series of corners there through Abbey and Farm and entering the village. Wasn't quite sure if the Ginetta kept it within the white lines, but we'll just have to wait and see, as he just has a few corners separating him from the start-finish line. Yeah, 135 laps of practice is a lot, and he is the first on the board with a 2-minute 13.372 for the field to chase down. Josh Ransom on the board in the Ginetta as Giancarlo Bottini sets the new benchmark with a 2-minute 12 flat. He is the lead Ginetta of the three that have been able to set a lap here, with Pessinen behind. Then you have Josh Ransom. Callum Flood gets on the board in the 87 KTM. Where will Sir Kojay go? He goes to the top with a 2:11.242 in the Chill Bibble 333. There's Callum Flood going around for another lap as the field continues to funnel in with their times. Manhita gets in between John Kilcoyne and Sir Kojay. Scarlett Brown in the top 5 in the 742 Porsche. Hezzy Thomas goes to 8th ahead of Charlier in the 53 BMW. Barretto going heavy over the curb at the Vale chicane, but keeping the car under control, and he has to pull off to the side of the road here. He's going to let the 333 go through, or perhaps just not on a valid lap, looking to get the improvement where it matters. Chris Saunderson has a top 5 position in the championship as he looks to get a valid lap on the board here. 7.5 or 6.5 minutes gone by in the qualifying session. Still a little over halfway left for the field to set those valid lap times. Where will the number 18 Audi lie? Wentz, he crosses the line and goes into the top 6 alongside Dr. Porkchop on the 3rd row of the grid. And in fact, he sets an identical time to Dr. Porkchop. The pair of them have a 2-minute 11.792 on the board. Austin Charlier in the 53 BMW, 1 corner left. See if he can get an improvement here going up to the line. Representing the lone BMW on the grid tonight. Coming up to the line. And can't quite, or he does get an improvement on this lap. Moves up to 12th place. Indeed, Mr. Bryan, a fellow BMW driver here tonight. as Josh Ransom in the 325. Ginetta looking to improve by a couple of tenths to get ahead of Giancarlo Bottini in the 57. Ginetta, they share the fourth row of the grid for the time being. Still 6.5 minutes left in the session, though. But still, Sir Kojay remains on top with that 2-minute 11.242 in second. You have Duarte Manhita, then John Kilcoyne, the championship leader, in third. Teemu Pessinen in fourth. Dr. Porkchop in fifth. Chris Saunderson in sixth. Bottini in seventh. Josh Ransom here in eighth, but looking for an improvement as he comes up to the line. Then you have Khalil in 9th, Scarlett Brown in 10th, Callum Flood 11th, Hezzy Thomas in 12th, Charlie A in 13th, John Baptist 14th, Chris Douglas in 15th, and still waiting for a time from Gabriel Frere and JP Barreto. And in fact, the 6 is coming up to the line here. We'll see where this lap will put João Pedro. He goes up to 11th place, gets in between Callum Flood and Scarlett Brown, sitting just a few tenths behind that top 10 position. Joe Khalil has a win to his name this season. I believe it came at Watkins Glen, as he is sitting just inside that top 10 in 9th, but looking for an improvement on this lap. And he is able to improve by about 3 tenths and jumps up a few places ahead of the two Ginettas of Giancarlo Bottini and Josh Ransom. So Sir Kojay going down the Hamilton Straight through the high-speed section of Abbey and Farm, and then a heavy braking zone at Village for yet another very slow left-hand corner before taking him back onto the Wellington Straight. 4 minutes left to go. And yes, I agree, the Ginettas are going to have a bit of a struggle on the long straights. But luckily for them, they've got a lot of corners to make up the time, with Silverstone being one of the longer tracks at 3.66 miles. But yes, unfortunately for those Ginettas, lots of straights in between the corners as well. Sir Kojay taking it right up to the wall there, looking for any sort of gain in the lap time and unable to find it. Still hangs on to provisional pole. Can John Kilcoyne say anything about it? Currently sitting on the second row in third. Can the championship leader get onto the front row and get ahead of the two AMGs? He does! He clears Sir Kojay by about a tenth of a second and gets a 2:11.14 on the board to move himself up to that provisional pole position. On the last lap, Khalil was able to improve by a few tenths. Can he do it again on this lap? Looking to get ahead of Dr. Porkchop. He does improve his time, but can't quite improve his position as he sits just 5 thousandths of a second behind the 71 Aston Martin. Chris Saunderson got himself up to the second row as he lines up next to Duarte Manhita in third. Pessinen in the pits in fifth. John Kilcoyne in the pits from first. They are not going to have enough time to go out once more. So that is the best position that those two cars will find themselves in. Same with John Baptist in the pits from 16th. As the grid going down the Hangar Straight into Stowe. Very high speed right hand corner. Joe Khalil just allowing the cars to go through, getting himself set up for the next lap. We just have 90 seconds left on the clock here this evening in the first qualifying session. The grid looking to get themselves nice and organized for the first 20-minute race ahead. Lots of invalid laps on the board I'm seeing on the timing charts. Perhaps just everyone getting ready for that final last-minute sprint. Get those times in right when it matters. 50 seconds left on the clock, though. Josh Ransom just going through Stowe and into the Vale chicane. Avoiding the big sausage curb on the inside. Now trying to get all the power down he can in the Ginetta. Manhita also returning to the pits from third, so that will be the highest that the 77 AMG will finish in this qualifying session, at least, with the time now hitting 0. Dr. Porkchop comes up to the line and he can't get an improvement, so 6th will be the highest that the 71 Aston can finish. Up next to the line, you'll have the 325 Ginetta of Josh Ransom, currently rounding out the top 10. Needs less than a 10th to move ahead of JP Barreto and needs about 2 tenths to get ahead of Giancarlo Bottini in 8th. Can he do it through the final corner? Or will top 10 be the best? For now, it is just going to be 10th for the 325 for now. In the first session, and of course anything can happen during the race. Callum Flood now to the line, cutting all of that final corner to try and gain as much time as possible. Gained some time, but needed a couple more tenths to get ahead of Austin Charlier, ahead of him in 12th. Back to the pits goes Callum Flood in the lone KTM on the grid. Scarlett Brown in the 742. At the back of the pack here on a valid lap, Sir Kojay. Can he get the improvement? He can! He gets to pole right at the last minute. A 2:10.977 on the board from the 333. Gabriel Frere, no time on the board yet from the 27. It's just going to be this last lap effort from him. Chris Douglas ahead, can't improve as Gabriel Frere goes up to 11th. And now it is just Scarlett Brown left in the 742 Porsche and takes 11th place away from Gabriel Frere in that 27 McLaren as they will line up together on the 6th row. Great lap at the end from Sir Kojay. Taking the AMG and sticking it on pole position right at the end there. Let's remind ourselves of how the grid stacks up for race number 1. On pole position, Sir Kojay takes the 333 Team AMG Chill Bibble GT4 to the top spot. Can he get that race win, or does the championship leader John Kilcoyne have something to say about it, lining up next to him on the front row in second, the 44 Firebrand Aston Martin, looking for his 4th win of the season. Starting the second row is Duarte Manhita in the NM Racing Team number 77 AMG. He shares that row with the Audi of Chris Saunderson in the number 18 Allison Racing. Starting inside the top 5, you have Teemu Pessinen in the 111 Janetta. He has Dr. Porkchop alongside him in the 71 Chop Shop Racing Aston Martin. In 7th place, Joe Kalile in the number 2695 MCL McLaren. He looks for another win in this season, as is Giancarlo Bottini, lining up in 8th in the 57 Firebrand Janetta. Next, you have JP Barreto in 9th. The Mange Racing number 6 AMG starts from the front of the 5th row, and he shares that row with Josh Ransom in the 325 TVR Janetta. At 11th, you have Scarlett Brown in the Trans Rights X-Tan B Performance 742 Porsche. Gabriel Frere getting his only valid lap in right at the end to take 12th place in the 27 Logitech McLaren G Challenge. Starting from 13th is the Firebrand BMW of Austin Charlier. He races with the number 53. Next, you have Hezzy Thomas, who we will take a livery deep dive once this formation lap gets underway. He represents the Dog Box Racing team in the 59 AMG this evening. Next to him is Callum Flood in the Apex GP number 87 KTM. Next, you have Chris Douglas in the V8 Racing Camaro, followed by John Baptist in the Trinity Racing number 7 Porsche. And let's take a deep dive look at the now AMG of Hezzy Thomas. Formation lap underway. He's got his name, he's got his flag, he's got the Dog Box Racing logo, and in an all too familiar color scheme, that teal and blue, very much popping on the AMG tonight for Hezzy Thomas. Love the Dog Box logo on the wing there, and please, no Punterino. He's trying his best. And that's all we ask of the rookies, is just they try their best and learn to grow their love of sim racing here in ACC, with the GT4 always being a fun series to try and learn and master as well. And there's your livery deep dive with Hezzy Thomas. Formation lap underway. And Sir Kojay leads in the 333 AMG. He will have the advantage off the line. He will have the inside going into turn 1, which is Kopp's corner. Very quick right-hander. Very tricky to go side by side as well. Of course, the infamous incident between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton occurred at that corner. Hopefully we will have a lot less of that this evening, as our 17 rookies for this evening look to take on the world-renowned Silverstone circuit. Lots of time to prepare. 3.6 mile lap. Of course, considered to be the home of Grand Prix racing. Opening after the end of World War II in 1948, where they converted the airport facility that used to lay here into the track, with its original layout changing quite a lot throughout the years. It remained pretty much unchanged from its inception up until the early 90s when they added the Maggots and Becketts to slow down cars through that complex, despite it still being a very high-speed section. They added the Vale chicane at that time as well, to slow the cars down coming out of Stowe. But more on the history of the track later on. What's more important is these GT4 rookies getting themselves ready for 20 minutes of racing, getting lined up side by side in zipper formation, going through the final few corners. Hopefully they got themselves ready for racing. The tires are up to pressure. The brakes are ready to go as they round out Woodcott and going through the final corner, waiting for the green lights. Lots of drivers anticipating that race start as we look from above at the race start. Green flag waves, time ticks down, away we go for race number 1. John Kilcoyne trying to sweep around the outside for the race lead. He's almost looking to get it done, and Chris Saunderson looks to take third. Teemu Pessinen trying to take 2 cars in one go in the Ginetta. Dr. Porkchop alongside Joe Kalile, a little bit out of shot here, but Chris Saunderson getting a good jump up to that final podium step. Duarte Manhita, though, is looking to challenge that as he goes around the outside. There's contact between them. Both of them still going in the correct direction. Amazing car control from the two of them to still be in this race and pointing in the right direction. Dr. Porkchop, a little bit of contact with Manhita, but still, again, pointing in the correct direction as the Aston Martin of Dr. Porkchop looks to take the position, but Duarte Manhita confident around the outside, gets the speed, gets the overlap, and into the Vale chicane. It's the Ginetta of Teemu Pessinen having a look, but Chris Saunderson, very stout in his defense, stays up ahead and in third place. At the front, John Kilcoyne all over the back of Sir Kojay. Great battling between the two of them. They've built a pretty decent 1.5 second gap over Chris Saunderson in third as he is surrounded by company behind. It's Teemu Pessinen immediately in front, and then Duarte Manhita and Dr. Porkchop continuing to battle for a spot in the top 5. At the moment, Duarte edging out Dr. Porkchop, and it's JP Barreto with a great run out of the corner, looking to get the pair of them. And in fact, the McLaren of Joe Kalile has a mega run as well, and down into the braking zone of Brooklands, it's Dr. Porkchop maintaining the position ahead of JP Barreto. Great racing so far as we've completed just 1 lap of racing so far. So much action up and down the grid. Into Copse we go at racing speed for the first time. Teemu Pessinen hanging on to the back of the Audi as up ahead Sir Kojay building up a decent 1 second gap over John Kilcoyne. Then it's right around 1.7 seconds to Chris Saunderson, and Teemu Pessinen right on the back of the Audi. Duarte Manhita not too far behind. There is the black and red AMG coming into shot. Dr. Porkchop in 6th, JP Barreto in 7th, Kalile in 8th. Scarlett Brown gets into the top 10, as does Hezzy Thomas. Then you've got Chris Douglas 11th, Bottini in 12th, Charlier in 13th, John Baptist 14th, Josh Ransom in 15th, Callum Flood in 16th, and Gabriel Frere in 17th. Still lots of time left on the clock for these positions to change, and Teemu Pessinen is looking to get a final, or get on that final podium position here, as the Audi looking like it's opening up a little bit of room on the inside, but the V10 just roars away from the Ginetta. Manhita thinking of having a look, but the Ginetta very capable in the braking zone and through the corners defends the position very well. Saunderson goes a little bit deep. They're going to try to go side by side, but not a lot of room given by the Audi for the Ginetta to try to work his way through. And with the pair of them getting slightly slowed down, it might be advantage to Duarte Manhita, who's thinking of having a look down the inside, sticks his nose in, forces Pessinen a little bit wide, but he has the inside for the next corner, and it's going to be very tricky for Duarte Manhita to get the over-under done in this part of the track. A little bit behind JP Barreto in the number 6, got ahead of Dr. Porkchop. And so now the two AMGs of Manhita and JP Barreto running one behind another. And Manhita getting a little bit unsettled through Baggett's and Beckett's as JP Barreto all over him, and he's got the fastest lap of the race. Got it on that last lap, a 2-minute 11.775. So Barreto showing he's got the pace after starting from 9th place, I do believe. He's moved up about 3 places now as he looks to chase down the 77 of Manhita. Once again, a very dramatic view from the back of the Audi with Pessinen all over him, the two AMGs battling for position. And there, I believe that was Joe Kalile working his way through Dr. Porkchop as well. So that's 26. McLaren moves up a place past the 71 of Dr. Porkchop. And a slide from Duarte Manhita going through Abbey, looking to carry all of the speed through that corner to stay close into that heavy braking zone. And once again, oh, and there's contact between Pessinen and Saunderson. Saunderson facing the wrong way. Battle ensuing for the lead here. John Kilcoyne around the outside of Brooklands. If he can hang on, he's gonna have the inside for the next corner, but he can't quite keep the grip there. Sir Kojay hangs on to that top spot. Back behind after the contact between the Ginetta and the Audi, it's Duarte Manhita who moves up to 3rd, JP Barreto in 4th, Teemu Pessinen dropping back a position to 5th, Joe Kalile and Dr. Porkchop, Scarlett Brown as well, getting ahead of the Audi of Chris Saunderson. So he's got a little bit of work to do as JP Barreto runs deep. He goes deep through Copse and giving Teemu Pessinen a chance to fight through Maggots and Beckett's. A very high-speed complex to fight through, and the Ginetta goes through. Great move by Teemu Pessinen to take 4th place back. He looks to chase down Duarte Manhita, but JP Barreto's not going to give up without a fight. He looks to get the switchback done on the Ginetta. It's AMG top speed versus Ginetta, and Joe Kalile wants to get involved in the mix as well. Dr. Porkchop and Scarlett Brown nearly side by side into the braking zone, and once again the Ginetta just showing it's got great cornering ability, hangs on to that spot through Stowe. Joe Kalile thinking about a move down the inside, but just pulling back, thinking the better of it. As he is now on the back of JP Barreto for a spot in the top 5. Oh, contact! Dr. Porkchop into the back of Joe Kalile. Unfortunately, I think Dr. Porkchop got spun around there as well. So he drops back behind Chris Saunderson there, ahead of Giancarlo Bottini in the 57 Ginetta. Not sure if Dr. Porkchop just missed the braking zone or whether he got hit as well. Just came right into shot there and hitting the back of Joe Kalile. Fortunately, Joe hanging on to his 6th place position, but unfortunately for the 71 Aston, encountering a slight spin. But still a good position inside that top 10 for Dr. Porkchop, and still about halfway, or half of the race remaining, I should say, for him to try and fight back for those positions. Meanwhile, at the front, John Kilcoyne still hanging on to the back of Sir Kojay for the race lead. The AMG and the Aston Martin very similarly matched in top speed department. They run a nearly identical engine in their GT4 cars. So it's all down to the driver's skill and how they were able to get their car set up for the race here tonight. Battle between Josh Ransom and Hezzy Thomas. The Ginetta looking to get the position, heavy on the brakes, a little bit deep from Hezzy Thomas, but hangs on to the time being and just parking it on the apex, not allowing Josh Ransom to go through there. There's a swap for the lead. There was a change. John Kilcoyne gets ahead. Let's see how he got it done. Going into Abbey, the AMG just a little bit slower than the Aston Martin, and he takes full advantage with a late move on the brakes. Down the inside he goes and holds on to that inside line through the loop. And back onto the Wellington straight they go, with the Aston Martin ahead of the AMG. So the championship leader takes the race lead after 4 laps behind the 333 AMG, able to get a decisive move done. And now it's up to Sir Kojay to battle back. Duarte Manhita gets the fastest lap of the race on his last tour of the Silverstone track, a 2-minute 11.495. Giancarlo Bottini fighting hard with Dr. Porkchop for 9th place here. Giancarlo Bottini flashing away at Dr. Porkchop, telling him, I'm about to send it. And he tries to send it going into Stowe, but Dr. Porkchop covering off that attacking opportunity. And out of the corner into the Vale chicane, Giancarlo Bottini, he's gonna go very late, and he hangs on, doesn't go too deep, and gets the position for now. Dr. Porkchop has the inside line though. He's gonna fight back. They go side by side. Giancarlo Bottini a little bit forced off the track there, but still good side by side racing as they head into Abbey. Bottini trying to squeeze Porkchop, but he is having none of it. Maintains position and gets 9th back. And Bottini down the inside, a late move into the loop. They're going to continue their side-by-side battle down the Wellington straight. The Aston Martin forced a little bit wide there, giving Bottini the advantage and 9th place. And with these two battling, Josh Ransom is saying thank you very much for bringing me into play, as the 325 Ginetta looks to get close to the back of this battling duo and try and fight for a spot inside the top 10. There's the gap between our two leaders. John Kilcoyne now ahead of Sir Kojay. Can he maintain the position for another 6 minutes? Or does the AMG have a way of fighting back and taking the race lead? And still continuing their battle for 4th and 5th are Teemu Pessinen and João Pedro Barreto. Ginetta maintains position ahead of the AMG. And for the time being, it's Pessinen who holds on to 4th. Joe Kalile and Scarlett Brown are close, about 4 seconds behind that battling duo. Kalile has 6th ahead of Scarlett Brown in 7th, and Chris Saunderson looking to get on the back of these two to try and fight back after his spin earlier on. It's Scarlett Brown down the inside. Great move from the Porsche. Nothing the McLaren can do about it. And the 742 takes 6th. Can the McLaren top speed shine here down the Wellington Straight, lining up a move into Brooklands? The Porsche forced the long way around, but the way the track forms, the outside becomes the inside, and Scarlett Brown able to defend through Luffield. And it is Chris Saunderson who's getting very close to the back of the McLaren in this battle now for 7th. The 18 looking to go down the inside of Copse, but thinking the better of it, just tucking in behind. With 4 minutes left on the clock, that should have time for 3 more racing laps. As the battles continue to pick up all the way throughout the race here, and in the final 4 minutes, we've got plenty of battles on our hands. The race leaders going side by side into Stowe. John Kilcoyne maintains the inside line, forcing the 333 AMG the long way around. And once again into the Vale chicane, another move trying to be lined up, but a little bit too far back is the pink AMG. So as they continue on through Sector 3, Sir Kojay trying to fight back and get the race lead. But John Kilcoyne showing why he is a championship leader. Got the move done and is defending very well. And with 2 laps remaining, can he hang on to another, or hang on for another victory, I should say, here in the first race of round number 5. Back to the battle here between Scarlett Brown, Joe Kalile, and Chris Saunderson. It's the 26 McLaren getting close once again to the back of the 742 Porsche. That straight line speed of the McLaren, very evident, able to pull away from the Audi and getting closer and closer to the Porsche. But through these corners is where we might see the other cars have a little bit more of an advantage compared to Kalile. And at the front, there's a change for the lead. Let's see how it happened. Sir Kojay lining up a move down the inside of Stowe this time. John Kilcoyne giving him plenty of space to do so. But Sir Kojay says, thank you very much, and it's John Kilcoyne on the grass. Duarte Manhita gets ahead of him for second place as well. Not sure if there was contact or whether the Aston Martin just went off on his own. But Sir Kojay retaking the race lead. And as we tune back into live shots, John Kilcoyne falling back behind Manhita as well. Gap growing between Pessinen and JP Barretto as well. So it looks like those positions are almost settled, with still anything can happen, of course. We'll see. There should be enough time for one more racing lap. Let's tune in with Sir Kojay as he crosses line with 9 seconds to go. So this will be the last racing lap. Oh, and there's contact between Khalil and Scarlett Brown. Right as we tune away from one thing and go to the next, all of the drama unfolds before, and Scarlett Brown and Joe Khalil onto the grass there. That allows Chris Saunderson to take a couple of places as the Audi now moves up to 6th. Zero time left on the clock. This is the final lap of race number 1. Sir Kojay getting the lead back on the last lap into Stowe. Looks to hang on with just a 1.5 second gap between him and Duarte Manhita. And he's got the fastest lap of the race. So the 77 AMG certainly has some pace. Will there be yet another change in the podium places in the last lap here? This is what the back of the Chill Bibble AMG looks at. The fellow AMG driver of Manhita getting closer and closer. Gap is within a second, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to challenge into the final braking zone. He's certainly making Sir Kojay think about it. Duarte Manhita challenging all the way to the end, but the 333 took pole position, maintained the lead for about 5 laps, lost it to John Kilcoyne, but got it back and was able to hold off the pressure from Duarte Manhita. Sir Kojay takes the race win for the first 20-minute race of round number 5. Manhita takes second place in the 77. John Kilcoyne on the podium in third. Teemu Pessinen next in 4th. JP Barretto gets a spot in the top 5. Chris Saunderson fought back up to 6th. Joe Khalil takes 7th. Scarlett Brown finishes in 8th place. Giancarlo Bottini across the line in 9th, with Dr. Porkchop rounding out the top 10. Josh Ransom not too far behind him in 11th place. Next you have Gabriel Frere, takes the checkered flag in 12th. Callum Flood, after a pit lane start, takes 13th place across the line. Hezzy Thomas with the AMG debut takes 14th. Chris Douglas next in the lone Camaro on the grid takes 15th. Austin Charlier in the Firebrand BMW takes 16th place. Then you have John Baptist in 17th, the number 7. The last car to take the checkered flag here this evening. So now just one corner left for John Baptist before the conclusion of race number 1 tonight. Sir Kojay takes the win after 10 laps, followed by Duarte Manhita and John Kilcoyne joining him on the podium. Teemu Pessinen in 4th, Barretto in 5th, Saunderson 6th, Kalail in 7th, Scarlett Brown 8th, Bottini in 9th. Dr. Porkchop rounds out the top 10. Then you have Josh Ransom, Gabriel Frere, Callum Flood, Hazzy Thomas in 14th, Chris Douglas 15th, Charlie A next. Last but not least here, John Baptist across the line, taking the checkered flag. Let's run it back. 15-minute qualifying session underway before yet another 20-minute race for the rookies tonight. And out they go already. Teemu Pessinen leads the charge out of the pit lane after finishing in 4th in race number 1. Can he get a podium position in race number 2? A little bit later in the day now, 3 p.m. local time. Still nice and bright, optimum conditions. A lovely day at the Silverstone track. Teemu Pessinen leading those out of the pit lane. JP Barretto's got a good gap in front and behind. He can run a pretty chill qualifying session all on his own here. As still about half of the grid remains in the pits, getting their strategies, or their setups ready, I should say. Making sure they're not carrying too much fuel in the car for the qualifying session. Yeah, lots of great battles going on throughout that first race. Many 2-car, 3-car battles all the way from start to finish. Looking forward to running it back again here, as the drivers continue their way out of the pits and getting the tires up to pressure and up to temperature for the second and last qualifying of round number 5 this evening. Excuse me. So JP Barretto starts his first push lap in number 6 AMG. A couple of drivers up ahead of him pushing as well. Giancarlo Bottini being one of those. Finished inside the top 10 in race number 1. He has finished on the podium this season as well. Currently sitting in 4th in the championship. Sitting in 4th place in the championship with exactly 100 points to his name. 8 points back of Dr. Porkchop in 3rd, 6 points ahead of Chris Saunderson in 5th. John Kilcoyne leads your championship with 127 points. JP Barretto in 2nd with 115. Still very tight. 4 rounds remain. And lots of fun tracks coming up as well. Imola next week, followed by the Circuit of the Americas for round number 7. And to finish it off, we will go to Snetterton for the season finale in just 3 weeks' time. John Kilcoyne is the only multi-winner, or multi-race winner, I should say, with 3. Everybody else who has a race win just has 1. Giancarlo Bottini being one of those drivers, as he gets a time on the board in 3rd, about 6/10 behind Teemu Pesinen, who leads the way with a 2-minute 12.045. Dr. Porkchop, one of those drivers with a race win to his name this season. He got it at the first go-around in round number 1, in race number 1, and has picked up a handful of podiums as well, as he goes to 2nd place, gets between JP Barretto and Teemu Pesinen. He starts another lap going through Megaton. Beckett's carrying so much speed in the Aston Martin through there. But able to keep the grip through the corners. Joe Kalile, another one of those drivers with a race win to his name. Got it at round number 2 for the 2nd race. Hello, Kemp. Welcome. Hope you're enjoying the racing so far. About 7 minutes into the 2nd qualifying session tonight, where the grid will be set for a 20-minute race to finish off round number 5 tonight here at Silverstone. Giancarlo Bottini moves up to the provisional pole slot. A 2-minute 11.892 on the board from the 57. Josh Ransom up to 2nd. Teemu Pesinen in 3rd. It's a Ginetta 1, 2, 3. Joe Kalile coming up to the line. Can he do anything about the 3 Ginettas at the top? The times are very, very tight as well. And Joe Kalile can't get a time on the board. Where will John Kilcoyne go? Finished in 3rd in race number 1. He can only get as high as 7th for the time being. Still about halfway to go in the qualifying session. Lots of time on the board for the drivers to get their laps in. Dr. Porkchop can't quite improve on his personal best there. Top 5 position is his for the time being. He's about 4/10 behind Chris Saunderson in 4th and Teemu Pesinen in 3rd. He's got about a 1/10 of a gap to JP Barretto behind him in 6th. Manhita coming up to the line, not on a valid lap. It would have been a 2:13.1, and that would have put him in 8th place ahead of Gabriel Frere behind John Kilcoyne. So he will have to go around once more and try and keep it within the track limit boundaries. As we are still looking for times from Joe Kalile. Going slowly once again here. Never mind, he was just in the braking zone. While continuing on, looking to get a lap on the board. He's got the V10 of Chris Saunderson just roaring away ahead of him. He's about a 1/10 and a half behind the lead Ginetta of Kalile. as he has been given some energy from Hezi. Chris Saunderson coming up to the line. Can he get ahead of any of the Ginettas? He gets ahead of all three by about a second. A great lap on the board from the Audi, a 2:10.85. Joe Kalile uses that energy to his advantage and moves up into the top 5 ahead of Dr. Porkchop and behind the 3 Ginettas of Giancarlo Bottini, Josh Ransom, and Teemu Pessinen. JP Barretto splits a few of those Ginettas up as he gets up to 4th ahead of Pessinen behind Josh Ransom. Those times are absolutely tight between Bottini and Teemu Pessinen, and they are separated by just a 1/10 and a half. Duarte Manhita gets ahead of the Ginettas and JP Barretto to find himself on the front row alongside Chris Saunderson. Still about a 7/10 of a gap between him and the pole sitter for the time being, Chris Saunderson. Hello, Floody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome in. Chris Douglas out on track looking for a lap in the 718 V8 Racing Camaro. As he goes through Sector 2, Josh Ransom concludes his lap to be the lead Ginetta on the grid, up to 3rd ahead of Giancarlo Bottini, of still about a 1/10 behind Duarte Manhita and nearly 8/10 behind a certain Chris Saunderson at the front of the grid in that number 18 Audi, setting a blistering lap there. Ah, I see, Callum Flood. You are serving a pit lane penalty indeed. Kalile improves his time once again to get into the top 5, gets ahead of JP Barretto and Teemu Pessinen. He sits behind the Ginettas of Josh Ransom and Giancarlo Bottini. John Kilcoyne gets up to 3rd on his last lap, a 2:11.582 from the championship leader. He is behind Manhita and Chris Saunderson back in the pits in the last 3 minutes of the second qualifying session. Back with Christopher Douglas. Let's see if he can get a valid lap on the board here in the V8 Racing Camaro. Not on this go around. Perhaps just an outlap here for the 718. We'll check back in with Chris Douglas at the end of this next lap. As Teemu Pessinen in the 111 Ginetta got the pole position lap early on and now finds himself in 8th, now 9th place, with Gabriel Frere setting a time in the 27 McLaren up in 3rd. Can Teemu Pessinen improve on this lap? He does improve. He moves up to 8th ahead of JP Barretto. Duarte Manhita improving his time to get within 2.5 tenths of Chris Saunderson's time at the top of the charts, and he remains in the pit lane, so he is happy with the lap as he looks on with us for the rest of the grid to set their grid order. Joe Kalile, can he match the time of fellow McLaren driver Gabriel Frere? Coming up to the line. This will be his last flying lap attempt as he crosses the line with 1 minute left in the session. Can't improve on his personal best on that lap. Or excuse me, he does improve on his personal best, but can't improve on his position. Stays in 7th place behind Bottini and Josh Ransom. And in fact, he's off and pulling over to the side of the road. That is the session done for Joe Kalile. Teemu Pessinen going for his last flying lap attempt here, as is the 718 Racing. He might actually come across the line before the timer hits 0. Let's see here for Chris Douglas. Can he get a valid lap on the board? Coming up to the line, got plenty of time to spare, gets a lap on the board, moves ahead of Callum Flood, Scarlett Brown, and Hezzy Thomas up into 13th. So it is now or never to set those quick laps. Teemu Pessinen behind the number 27. 27 is Gabriel Frere. As he comes up to the line, he can't improve. Where will the 111 go? Looking for an improvement. Just a little bit can see him go a long way, and he gets a pretty big improvement up to 6th alongside Josh Ransom. Giancarlo Bottini improves his personal best at the end there, but can't quite jump any positions. All 3 Ginettas lined up next to each other from 5th to 7th place for the time being, unless anybody else on the grid has anything to say about it. John Kilcoyne next to cross the line in the number 44 Aston Martin. He lines up for the time being alongside Gabriel Frere on the back of the 2nd row. Can he jump the McLaren to get up to 3rd? Needs about a 10th, and then he needs a further 4 tenths if he wants to get ahead of Duarte Manhita. Just 1 corner left for the championship leader. Where will he go? Can he finish any higher than 4th? Coming up to the line now. And he does improve on his personal best, but not enough to jump any of the cars ahead of him. Next is the Dr. Porkchop in the sister Aston Martin car, the 71, now up to the line. Once again, any little bit improvement can go a long way here, but at the end here, Dr. Porkchop can't find the time. The 77 is next of Duarte Manhita. He can't improve on his personal best. He lines up in 2nd place. Christopher Douglas, last to cross the line. Can he get ahead of John Baptist? He can. Gets an improvement by about 1.5 seconds on his personal best right at the end there to line up in 12th place. We've lost Sir Kojay. What happened to Sir Kojay? A one-and-done performance from the 333 AMG, I guess. Shows up, shows how it's done, and then leaves. Leaves it to the rest of the grid for race number 2. We've got a different grid, different drivers starting on pole position. This time we've got Chris Saunderson. Gets his qualifying lap right in the middle of the session, went to the pits, and looked on to the rest of the grid to set the way. He takes pole for race number 2 in the number 18 Allison Racing Audi. Alongside him, 2nd place finisher from race number 1, Duarte Manhita, lines up in 2nd place in the number 77 NM Racing Team AMG. Gabriel Frere gets a good lap in the 2nd qualifying session to line up in 3rd in the Logitech McLaren G Challenge number 27. He's got the championship leader alongside him. It's John Kilcoyne in the number 44 Firebrand Aston Martin. Then you have the 3 Ginettas. Josh Ransom leads the charge in 5th in the TVR number 325. Next to him, sharing the 3rd row, it's an all Ginetta 3rd row, with Teemu Pessinen in the 111 Ginetta, lining up in 6th. And last but not least of the 3 Ginettas, Giancarlo Bottini takes 7th in the Firebrand number 57. He's got Dr. Porkchop alongside him in the 71. Chop Shop Racing, Aston Martin for company. Starting the fifth row is Joe Kalile in the number 95 MCL. Or excuse me, the 95 MCL livery, number 26. Rounding out the top 10 is JP Barreto in the Manga Racing, number 6 AMG. Austin Charlier is next in the Firebrand number 53 BMW. Next is Christopher Douglas, gets a good lap in at the end of the qualifying session to line up in 12th in the V8 Racing 718 Camaro. John Baptist, next of those who completed a qualifying lap. He starts from 13th in the number 7 Trinity Racing Porsche. Then you have 3 drivers serving quali bans / pit lane starts. Callum Flood lines up on the grid though in 14th in the number 87 KTM. Scarlett Brown also taking the grid in the Transrights X Tan B Performance 742 Porsche. Hezzy Thomas serving a pit lane start here in race number 2 in the 59 AMG. Oh, and as is JP Barreto, it looks like, in the number 6. Hello, Eric. Hello, Adam Strange. And hello, Casatino. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're having a good Monday so far. We are here to try to make it better with some GT4 racing. Chris Saunderson out and away on the formation lap. He will lead the 14 cars, excuse me, from the grid, and then 2 from the pits here in race number 2. And this is the view from Scarlett Brown's car. The 742 taking 15th place, and Callum Flood speeded on through in the KTM to get back to his grid spot, to not get thrown back to the pit lane with a penalty. But the whole grid snaking, weaving side to side, trying to generate some temperature and get some pressure into those Pirelli tires for the race start. No tire warmers in the GT4s. It is all up to the drivers to generate that friction and get the heat into the rubber. As they go through Stowe on the formation lap. Sun beginning to set, 4 p.m. local time. Still very nice conditions out there for some racing tonight. So with JP Barreto getting the pit lane start, Austin Charlier will move up to 10th. Chris Douglas 11th, John Baptist then 12th, Callum Flood 13th, Scarlett Brown up to 14th place, with JP Barreto and Hezzy Thomas starting from the pit lane. Got the 2 AMGs at the back, 1 AMG at the front, nearly making it a full AMG sandwich. And unfortunately, Sir Kojay unable to join for race number 2. A one-and-done performance from him in the 333. Now it is up to the rest of the AMG drivers to carry on that honor, as Duarte Manita lines up on the front row in second alongside Chris Saunderson in that number 18 Audi. He does have a race win to his name. Can he double up and be the second multi-race winner of the new 2026 season here? Down the Wellington Straight they go, lining up side by side now. Getting any last minute preparations ready on the car, adjusting the TC, traction control, the ABS settings, brake bias, and of course getting themselves ready for some tight racing here once again. They've shown they could do it in race 1. Let's see how race 2 goes. They round out the final corner side by side, waiting for the green lights to release them for 20 minutes of action. And away we go. John Kilcoyne getting a good jump off the line. He momentarily had third place. Gabriel Frere fought back right away, but it's the two Ginettas behind that are looking very speedy from the start. Up in front, Duarte Manhita sweeps through Meggetts and Beckett's. There's contact. Oh, and both cars maintaining the correct direction. Duarte Manhita going a little bit deep into the final corner. Oh, and behind, Chris Saunderson getting spun the wrong way around. Giancarlo Bottini getting involved, and I think Gabriel Frere got involved as well in the number 27 McLaren. Lots of cars going slowly there. Dr. Porkchop dropping back a few places there. There's Joe Kalile getting involved as well. And unfortunately there, the Audi just getting a little bit unsettled in Meggetts and Beckett's and going back and entering before Chapel. Little bit of drama's caused there as the 18 goes back to the pits after starting from pole. Duarte Manhita says, "Thank you very much. I'll take that race lead." Little bit of contact between him and Chris Saunderson at the start there, but somehow both cars still were able to stay pointed in the right direction. But after that, lots of drama unfolded behind. Gabriel Frere returning to the pits as well. So it's Manhita that leads, John Kilcoyne in second, Josh Ransom up into third, Chris Douglas up in fourth place after starting from 12th. He's got a spot in the top 5. As does Austin Charlier starting from 10th. Scarlett Brown from the back of the grid up to 6th. Teemu Pessinen, a little bit of damage to the front of that Ginetta. He's got some places to make up. Although he did start from 8th, if I do recall correctly. So he's already made up a place. John Baptist also moving up some ground inside the top 10. A more chaotic opening lap than we saw in race number 1. A bit of the grid getting shuffled up as JP Barreto, after starting from the pits, he is on the back of Giancarlo Bottini, getting involved in that incident at the end of Meggetts and Beckett's. JP Barreto goes on through. Giancarlo Bottini makes it easy for him. Scarlett Brown alongside Austin Charlier. This is a spot for 5th. And Scarlett Brown down the inside of Stowe gets the position ahead of the Firebrand BMW. Down the inside, Austin Charlier trying to fight back. Teemu Pessinen trying to take advantage as well in the 111 Ginetta. The 18 Audi of Chris Saunderson back out on track after a visit into the pit lane, getting the repairs done and dusted. Scarlett Brown now fighting for 4th with Chris Douglas. He sticks to the racing line, trying to shuffle the Porsche a little bit out. Scarlett Brown, can't quite get the grip out of the corner, and the Camaro with the V8 power looking to run away down the Wellington straight. And Teemu Pessinen gets through the BMW. That's 6th place now for the 111 Ginetta. But Austin Charlier fighting back down the inside of Brooklands. Can he maintain that position? It will turn into the outside. And looking to hold on to 6th is Pessinen, carrying a little bit of damage on that front end of his Ginetta. He looks to get back inside the top 5 with Scarlett Brown and Chris Douglas fighting up ahead. Very tricky to get a move done through Meggetts and Beckett. Scarlett Brown trying to prove otherwise, lining it up out of Chapel, trying to get it down the hanger straight. But Chris Douglas is defending for his life here. He's doing a great job of it as well. And into Stowe, he's got a comfortable gap to just take his usual racing line. And now into Vale. He switches across, looks to hang on. Scarlett Brown thinking about having a look down the inside, forces Chris Douglas a little bit deep. Teemu Pessinen coming out of nowhere and down the inside through the second part of the Vale chicane. They are going to run side by side. It's Scarlett Brown, Chris Douglas, a little bit of side-by-side contact. One more touch for good measure as they go side by side through Abbey. Very quick part of the track. Teemu Pessinen encountering a rolling roadblock up ahead. Nowhere for the Ginetta to go. He tries to take one place, gets a little bump from the Camaro, and there's further contact. Dr. Porkchop working his way through the pair of Austin Charlier and Christopher Douglas, but it is Charlier who gets both of those places. Chris Douglas getting shuffled to the outside and losing a lot of ground there. Unfortunately, the 718 now back in 12th. A great defensive drive at the front there from the Camaro, and unfortunately just some contact forcing him wide and shuffling him to the back of this very, very tight train we have running from the 742 of Scarlett Brown all the way to Chris Douglas. Giancarlo Bottini trying to line a move past John Baptist in the number 7 Porsche. Bottini, lots of sideways action going through the first part of Meggetts. And a nearly bump drafting the Porsche out of the corner. And there is that tight battle we have all up ahead of us. It's Teemu Pessinen trying to line a move down the inside of Stowe. It's Ginetta versus Porsche. Scarlett Brown trying to hang on around the outside, is going to maintain the position ahead of the Ginetta. Austin Charlier trying to fight for the places as well. No way by for the Ginetta here. We saw him come out of absolutely nowhere to fight for the positions on the lap before, but can't quite do it here. Scarlett Brown maintains 4th, Pessinen in 5th. Then behind is the black BMW of Austin Charlier, defending from Dr. Porkchop in the 71 Aston Martin. And we've barely mentioned our race leaders, but they are involved in a very tight battle. Duarte Manhita, after taking the lead from lap number 1, holds on to that position by a few tenths over John Kilcoyne in the 44 Firebrand Aston Martin. Those two have built a decent 4.5 second gap to Josh Ransom, rounding out the podium positions, and he has a comfortable gap to Scarlett Brown, who has lots of company behind in the name of Teemu Pessinen. And then Austin Charlier and Dr. Porkchop battling it out. JP Barreto, after starting from the pits, looking to get involved here as well. It's side by side into Cop's corner. Very high-speed corner. Aston Martin down the inside. Can the AMG sneak through as well? JP Barretto takes advantage of the BMW running a little bit wide. Says, thank you very much. I'm going to have a fight with Dr. Porkchop. And these two have battled earlier in the season before, so they know how to attack or defend one another. Very interesting battle developing here in the second half of the race. JP Barretto lines up the move down the inside of Stowe. Can Dr. Porkchop defend in the 71 Aston? He's looking to hang on to the place, but he has to just tuck back in behind the bumper. 2 positions gained in 1 lap here for JP Barretto. He gets ahead of the BMW of Austin Charlier, who goes deep and rolls the BMW. Oh my goodness. He's back on his wheels, though. Do a barrel roll. Oh, my goodness. Let's take a look at that again. That was some wild stuff. He was trying to attack. Dr. Porkchop in front and just has to take to the curbs and rolls it through the gravel and then back on the wheels. My goodness me. Well done, Austin. Style points go to Austin Charlier in race number 2. Teemu Pessinen, Scarlett Brown battling for 5th and 4th place. And Teemu Pessinen nearly having a late look into Brooklands, almost getting the position. The 2 pink cars here battling for 4th and 5th. It is the 742 Porsche that maintains the position ahead of the 111 Ginetta. I'm at a loss for words. What? That BMW took everybody for a ride. 8 minutes, 8 seconds left in race number 2 for round number 5 here at Silverstone. John Kilcoyne weaving left and right, trying to find any sort of room past Duarte Manhita, but the 77 AMG looking very strong out in the lead, maintaining a half-second gap, but looking comfortable doing so. Saunderson gets the fastest lap of the race, and it's great to see the perseverance from the number 18 Audi after the incident earlier on, taking a visit down the pits, but still out on track and trying to get those all-important championship points. Scarlett Brown a little heavy over the curb, but maintaining a lot of speed through the corner here. Teemu Pessinen once again no way by. Perhaps the damage on the front end not helping the Ginetta's efforts as well here, but Scarlett Brown is defending very well in that Porsche. And after the roll, the BMW is on the back of Hezzy Thomas in the 59 AMG, has Joe Kalile behind for company as well. Oh, and I think there was contact between Teemu Pessinen and Scarlett Brown. Let's see if we can take a look and see what happened here. Like we saw on the last lap into Brooklands, the Ginetta just able to carry so much more speed, but not able to take advantage. A little bit of an opportunity opening up down the inside and just drifting a little bit wide and into the Porsche. They make contact and both of them go spinning, losing a few places in the process. Teemu Pessinen now back to 6th. Scarlett Brown behind Giancarlo Bottini in 8th. Back to this battle here between the BMW, McLaren, and AMG. Joe Kalile got by one car, now looking to do the same to Hezzy Thomas and move up to 12th place. Hezzy Thomas taking a very defensive line into Stowe, leaving nearly no room for Joe Kalile to work his way through. And again, that front end of the McLaren has a considerable amount of scratch marks as he looks to get a spot in the top 12. Duarte trying to break the slipstream as much as he can for John Kilcoyne, who's once again shaking the car left and right, trying to line up a move and throw off the AMG in front, but Duarte is having none of it. Scarlett Brown got through Giancarlo Bottini, and now up to 7th place is the 742 Porsche, about 5 seconds behind the 111 Ginetta of Pessinen. Callum Flood and John Baptist battling here for 9th and 10th place. Can the Apex GP KTM find a way through John Baptist in the number 7 Porsche? 4 minutes remaining. 3 laps to go. Lots of tight battles all the way up and down the grid from our race leaders to Charlier and Hezzy Thomas in 14th and 15th. Much like in race number 1, still lots to be decided, lots of points on offer as well. Teemu Pessinen, after the contact with Scarlett Brown, back on the tail of Dr. Porkchop for a spot in the top 5. Pessinen in the Ginetta, all over the back of Dr. Porkchop into the slow corners and the medium speed corners. That Ginetta just carrying so much more speed than the competitors, but it's down these straights where the Aston can take advantage and kind of build that gap. But Teemu Pessinen has sent it quite a few times into Brooklands here, trying to get by Scarlett Brown. Can he find a way by Dr. Porkchop and try and clear the Aston Martin early on? But the Aston Martin defending very well, not even thrown off by the presence of the Ginetta behind, just taking its usual racing line and maintains a spot in the top 5. Callum Flood once again getting very close to John Baptist in this battle for 9th and 10th place. And the KTM work his way through the Apex GP. Just trying desperately to get through, but the KTM, much like the Ginetta, not very favorable in the straight line speed department, where the Porsche is able to maintain its position ahead and hold on to 9th place with just a few laps remaining now. Joe Kalile now on the back of Chris Douglas for 11th place. As they go down the hangar straight, Approaching Stowe, can the McLaren find a way through? Switches back to the inside, last minute, forces the Camaro to go the long way around, and Joe Carlisle looking to carry the speed into the Vale chicane and try and get the McLaren ahead of Camaro, but Chris Douglas down the inside, going a little bit deep into the first part of Vale, hangs on to the position though, but can't get a great exit speed like the McLaren does as they battle down the Hamilton straight. Nearly enough room for the McLaren, but just about enough space left for Joe Carlisle as this battle continues on into the closing lap of the race. Duarte across the line with 10 seconds to go in the race. This is the last lap for race number 2. John Kilcoyne there going a little bit deep into Copse, carrying all of the speed he possibly can in his efforts to get close to Duarte Menhita for the race win. Callum Flood still fighting with John Baptist here. And welcome. Thanks for the cheer, Adam Strange. Which American dad character would like racing the most? Oh, and a drift from Callum Flood through Copse, but still carrying the speed. Looks to get the position through. But John Baptist throwing on a great defense, a bit of contact from Callum Flood to the back of John Baptist, but both cars still pointing in the correct direction as they continue their battle out of Sector 1. Just about 2 sectors to go for Callum Flood to try and fight his way through. He's trying to go down the inside of Stowe, but John Baptist with a great defense once again into that corner, hanging on to 9th. Oh, and Callum Flood trying to go and sneak up on John Baptist, but just not a lot of room there to do that. Contact throwing the KTM out as John Baptist hangs on to 9th here. And the battles aren't over yet here. Hezzy Thomas trying to defend 13th now from Charlier, who had the roll earlier on in the BMW. As Hezzy Thomas carrying a lot of speed in that AMG. Apologies, Duarte across the line, taking the race win after 10 laps. He started on the front row, took the race lead early on, and didn't look back. John Kilcoyne takes second. Josh Ransom in the 325 Ginetta takes third. JP Barreto, after a pit lane start, taking 4th. Teemu Pessinen across the line in 5th. Then you have Dr. Porkchop in 6th place, taking the checkered flag. Scarlett Brown in 7th. Giancarlo Bottini in 8th. John Baptist gonna hang on to 9th place, ahead of Callum Flood. No, Callum Flood got ahead of John Baptist for 9th. And there's John Baptist rounding out the top 10. Battle between Joe Carlisle. He gets ahead of Chris Douglas for 11th, who finishes across the line in 12th. And Hezzy Thomas hangs on to 13th, ahead of Austin Charlier with that roll early on in the BMW. Certainly providing one of the highlights of the night. Chris Saunderson across the line to take 15th place with the fastest lap of the race to his name. The pole sitter got a little bit unlucky early on in the race, but great perseverance from the number 18 Audi to continue on and take the checkered flag. Sorry, Adam Strange. We'll get back to your question. You know, probably, I don't know, it's hard to say. I would like to think Roger would enjoy some racing. We would like to invite our podium sitters to the green room for a quick chat of how everybody's race went on. Sir Kojay taking the race win in race number 1, with Duarte Manhita and John Kilcoyne joining him on the podium. And then Manhita able to take the race win in race number 2, followed by John Kilcoyne in 2nd and Josh Ransom in 3rd. As we go back to our studio here, and we will wait for our podium sitters to pile in here and get a quick word from their perspective of the race. So after 2 20-minute races, got Sir Kojay. Welcome in. How are you doing, my friend? Race win in race number 1, and then y'all done.
Yeah. And then, yeah, doing. Yeah. So, oh, sorry. I have the Twitch and also as well. I can't hear you. Okay. There we go. Sorry.
You're all good, man. Take your time.
My heart was pounding and my hands were shaking, and I was like, I'm good for tonight.
There you go.
I don't know how to pronounce his name. Killicone was on my back the whole time, and then I was on his back the whole time, and that was honestly against another player the best wheel-to-wheel racing I've had in my entire life.
Yeah, it looked like you guys had a great battle earlier on, and he got the race lead at one point, and then you got it back. And I think there was like maybe a little bit of an incident that happened that we couldn't quite pick up. Maybe just one car went deep or something, but yeah, it just looked like some absolutely super close battling between you guys all the way from start to finish.
Yeah, it was the second to last lap. I mean, I don't want to speak for him, because I mean it was really good and respectful racing the whole time. But yeah, it was that second to last lap, and then yeah.
Yeah, it's stuff happens. You know.
Yeah.
Stuff happens, but yeah, as he was able to hang on to a podium position there and taking 2nd place in race number 2 was John Kilcoyne. But yeah, super good racing from you. I think was this your first race of the season?
Well, I got pole in Nürburgring and crashed down the formation lap.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So my returning, I took the paper bag off and off my head, and then wanted to redeem myself.
Well, you did just that, my friend, in race number 1. You got a great lap as well in the qualifying to take pole position, and yeah, just great racing all the way throughout from start to finish. Hopefully we'll see you in some more races in the rest of the championship as well. You certainly know how to get some good wheel-to-wheel racing in and put on a show for us here in the broadcast booth.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks for joining us. A little bit of a shy podium tonight, but that's okay. They certainly raced their hearts out on the track with some super tight racing between Duarte Manhita and John Kilcoyne in race number 2, as well as race number 1. And yeah, that will conclude round number 5 for us tonight at Silverstone. As always, thank you for joining us tonight. Quick look ahead. Tomorrow at Trackalicious, we have the Tuesday Le Mans Ultimate GT3 Sprint League with their 40-minute race format underway, also about halfway through that championship. Then on Wednesday, we go back to ACC for the GT3 and GT4 multi-class championship this week. They are headed to the mystery track that was revealed during the last stream. So they are going to Zandvoort this week for round number 5 for them to get underway as well. On Thursday, it is the switch to iRacing in their multi-class championship on Thursdays in the GT3s and the GT4s as well. And the multi-class action doesn't stop on Fridays. We go to Le Mans Ultimate for the hypercar and the GT3 75-minute races on Fridays. Saturday, everybody gets a nice little break. And then on Sundays, it's back to iRacing for the MX5 Cup held here at Trackalicious. If you want to get signed up for that, join the Discord, get signed up on SimGrid for that event and all of the other great stuff that Trackalicious hosts. Some track days coming up as well in the springtime for those living in Michigan and near Ohio. Get yourself registered for those and all of the sim racing leagues as well. Thank you for joining us tonight in the chat, watching along to your favorite drivers, cheering them on. Always good to see the support from you guys in the chat. And we couldn't do it without all of the lovely admins, managers, and stewards doing all the hard work in the background to keep all of our lovely series running as smoothly as they do. Big thanks to all of you joining us tonight. We are going to give a raid to Grassroots Racing as they begin their winter season finale. Stick around for that. Tell them Trackalicious sent you, and hope to see you on the next stream. Certainly on Wednesday with me. We might have some LMU streams and iRacing streams. Absolutely also on Thursdays and the MX5 Cup with our lovely iRacing broadcasters. Hope to see you then. Until then, stay safe. Have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be watching us from. We'll see you next time.
Holy smokes!
And thanks. Welcome to the podium. Zoprock right at the end there. Thanks for joining. And we'll hope to see you next time.